So here we go. Yay! Thank you. It's great when technology actually works.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Colin.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we're going to get started here.
Okay.
And we're going to start off the session with Wilford Justin, who is principal at AWS.
Thank you, guys. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Wilford Justin. I've been with AWS for 7 years now, and I've done different roles in AWS. For the first 2 years, I was a principal solution architect, and then I transitioned into account management, and I managed the relationship with a couple of strategic accounts, and one of them was MarkLogic, right? So I was managing the relationship with MarkLogic till 2019. And this current year, I've transitioned into a new role where I'll be leading a team of AI and ML experts to evangelize the platform, right? So after this session, because this is like 45-minute session, after this session, I'll be here for the rest of the day. So if you have any questions, we can dive deep into the machine learning stack of AWS, and I really would like to hear a couple of use cases from you. So today I'm here with MarkLogic team to talk about why AWS is a platform for companies like MarkLogic, what is the value prop that we bring in to both enterprises and partners like MarkLogic, and what we have done with MarkLogic in the course of 7-8 years, right? So it's going to be brief, it's going to be high level, but as we said, we'll be here. We'll try to do a demo, and if you have any questions, we'll be here to answer the questions. So let's begin with the platform, right? I'm going to assume that most of you here have at least hands-on experience on AWS, right? Let's say a show of hands. How many of you have used AWS? Pretty much, right? So I think I can skip the slide. So the point of the slide is AWS, probably you're working with, I know MarkLogic, they have a multi-cloud strategy. So a lot of customers and partners try to evaluate different cloud vendors. And AWS always comes first due to many reasons. And one of the important reasons is the depth and breadth of the platform. And I think the slide is trying to capture that. I hope you can read it. But most of the customers, including MarkLogic, starts with the core infrastructure services, right? It's the compute, network, and storage. So we always start with VPC, EC2, EBS, and S3, and IAM. But in order to enable customers and partners to build really mission-critical applications, the platform provides a lot of high-level services, right? So think about it, right? If you want to really build a highly distributed, laterally scalable applications, you should have some kind of asynchronous messaging, right? You have to have queuing systems. You have to have some kind of notification. You have to have database services to store your data, right? And we can talk about NoSQL database or relational database, right? So that's what the platform provides. And as I mentioned, I used to work with a lot of companies and enterprises who had big data challenges, right? In this time and age, probably MarkLogic is trying to address that. People have to ingest large volumes of data, and end of the day, they can ingest the data, they can process it, but the key thing is they have to process the data so that customers can derive valuable insights that could make a difference to the company, right? It could be a competitive advantage, or it could be operational insight or security insight, and so on. So if you think about even a very simplest big data use case, how do you capture data, right? Probably you want to capture terabytes of tweets to do sentiment analysis, or probably you want to capture billions of events from a sensor to do predictive maintenance. So the platform, you have to capture the data, and then you have to store the data. Again, probably since you guys have used Amazon Web Services, I think the easiest use case would be to store everything in S3. And depending on the use case, you can download it. You can use Glue and other things to download it into RDS or Redshift and so on, right? So we have services to store the data. And again, once you have the data, you have to process the data to derive the valuable insights, right? So again, processing can be real time, it can be near real time, or it can be batch mode. So if your use case says that, hey, I want to process lots of data in batch mode, and if you want to use some kind of Hadoop technology, we have services like EMR, right? So you can do that and produce monthly reports or daily reports. On the other hand, you might want to process the data in real time, right? You might want to capture the data, or you want to process the data as the data flows in, right? You might be using Kafka, or in Amazon Web Services, you can use Kinesis or Kinesis Streams to store it, and then you can process it, right? So we have, the point being, we have all kinds of services like Kinesis, Redshift, Glue, EMR, and so on, right? We can dive deep into it if you have time. And the last thing is, a lot of my customers use machine learning, right? So machine learning is my focus. So think about a huge number of customers and large number of technology partners. They say that, hey, we have already built our applications. We just want a simple API so that we can augment our applications, right? We just want NLP capabilities, or we want to process an image, or we want to process a video. So we're not going to actually train the model or create a model, build the model, train and deploy it. We just want a simple API call where we should be able to send an input and we should be able to do the we should be able to get the output, right? So if you look into it, if you can read it, we have a whole bunch of services regarding machine learning called vision APIs, language APIs. We have stuff like comprehend, translate, transcribe, lex, and so on, right? There is other set of customers who say that, hey, this is not going to cut it. We are building a sophisticated computer vision model or a sophisticated NLP-based system. So they actually want to train. They want to build the model, train the model, and deploy the model, right? So the training should be iterative, and so in order to get the good inference, right? So during the process, what they're saying is, hey, we want to build the model, but we don't want to deal with the heavy lifting of dealing with the infrastructure, right? Because if you think about machine learning, the algorithms are, it's a commodity, right? It's all there. You have powerful servers, but you need lots and lots of data to train the model iteratively so that you get better inferences, right? So sometimes when you train the model, it can scale pretty drastically, and you have to deal with petabytes of data. You have to have huge clusters. You have to scale up and scale down and so on, right? So customers are thinking, hey, can you simplify the process so that we can just focus on building and deploying and training the model? So we have services like SageMaker in order to do that, right? And we also cater to different customers who are super experts on machine learning, and they use all kinds of frameworks like TensorFlow and PyTorch. And they're saying, hey, we can deal with everything. All we need is powerful servers. So AWS provides powerful servers based on NVIDIA chips and P3s and P2s, where we have petaflops of processing power and so on, right? So we can get into that. But the point being, depending on the customer use cases, the platform is so powerful, and the depth and breadth of the platform is a differentiator here, right? Especially when you compare other cloud providers. Probably at the infrastructure layer, everybody might have good compute, network, and storage, but if you go up the stack, that is a key differentiator of AWS. So after talking about the breadth and depth of the platform, I think I went to a couple of sessions, AWS sessions. We always talk about security. Think about all the customers, MarkLogic customers. MarkLogic typically gets deployed in order to enable mission-critical applications, right? So security is number one priority for you guys and for most of the customers. And when it comes to AWS, security has been always the number one priority for AWS, and it is the number one priority for AWS, right? So things have literally changed because in 2012, I joined AWS as a principal architect, focusing on security and compliance, right? So things have changed because we used to get the buy-in from the dev team and the product team, but we literally spent 6 months to get the approval of the CISO and CTO. This is a long time back. Now the industry has completely changed, and CISOs and CTOs are coming out and they're saying that, hey, AWS platform can be equally secure. In fact, it is more secure than traditional data centers. And that is true for following reasons, right? I think you can read the slide, but I just want to hit on a couple of other points which is not part of the slide, right? So you all know that since you have worked in AWS, you understand the value prop of the platform. We take care of the physical network, platform security, and the people and processes. But the key thing is, it's a simple thing, right? Since you have used AWS, 100% of functionality of AWS is all driven through an API. So once you know that, suddenly you have 100% visibility to your platform, right? You can be running your fleet in a virtual data center within VPC, but using a simple API, you can find out how many servers are running, how many servers are shut down, what is your security group rules, what are the NACL, and all those stuff, right? So once you have better visibility, obviously you can implement better security controls and policies, right? There is no concept of rogue or anonymous server within AWS. So that is one of the very important reasons why AWS is really secure and more secure. The second thing is, I'm trying to think of a very simple example, right? We have probably 90 plus services, and we provide service-specific security controls for each and every service, right? And to drive the point, the most basic example that I can give is S3, right? You store an object in S3, which is an object store, and we all know about S3. It is reliable, 11 nines of durability, trillions of objects, all those good stuff. But before you put object into S3, we provide service-specific security controls. In this case, you can encrypt your data before you upload to S3. That is called client-side encryption. You use Java SDK and encrypt it. Or you can trust Amazon, right? You're saying that, hey, Amazon, take care of the heavy lifting of encrypting and decrypting. And by the way, there are a lot of variants to it, right? So in that case, you can just trust Amazon S3, and it will provide an AES 256-bit encryption. You can use the S3 supplied key, or you can have the KMS supplied key and so on. Or you can just supply your key and say that, hey, we are going to give the key, but AWS do the encryption, right? So that is the second point. The third thing is, that's the beauty of the platform, right? It can be consumed by companies like MarkLogic and BA and DHS and Goldman Sachs, as well as my cousin who's doing his project in a basement can use the same security controls that we have implemented, right? So, which means that, and another point is the kind of investment that we make in security, right? It is very hard for even Fortune 100 companies to match the investment that we make in security, which means that we employ the world-class software engineers, we deploy the world-class hardware and software to monitor our platform, right? So having said that, this is a good segue. I'm going to go really quick. When it comes to security, probably you all know that, right? It's compliance of the cloud and security of the cloud and in the cloud. So we take care of all these things. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. A simple example, we have DOM0, we have hypervisor and all those things. We take care of the physical server, but everything is virtualized on AWS, right? So anything on top of the application, we don't have access to your data. We don't have access to your applications, right? So even things like patching your service, it's your responsibility. So you have to take care of the compliance in the cloud. So we just don't claim it. We demonstrate our compliance with third-party auditing frameworks like, you can read it, FedRAMP, DoD, SOC 1, and SOC 2 continuously, which means that we have been audited almost continuously throughout the year, and that talks about the platform, right? So because of the value prop, right, the value prop of the platform is so large that millions of customers use AWS, and technology partners like MarkLogic use AWS, right? All the other things I'm going to skip. The breadth and depth of the platform and security is what I talked about, but you can read it. Agility, scalability, low cost, global presence, and so on. So quickly, what we have done with MarkLogic, we have been working with MarkLogic for close to 10 years, and MarkLogic is an advanced AWS partner. I don't want to spend a lot of time on the partner network. If you have any questions, we can talk later. So we have come a long way with MarkLogic, right? So typically, long time back, people used to bring their own license and deploy it on virtual VPCs, and then we came up with armies together. MarkLogic came up with CloudFormation templates. The next phase was, hey, we want to make it really simple for customers to procure and deploy. So again, if you know what is Marketplace, we have Marketplace, and MarkLogic products are available on Marketplace. The next thing is, probably 1.5 years, 2 years back, we started our journey with MarkLogic, and MarkLogic really, the product strategy, Kiran is going to talk about it, for obvious benefits. The whole world is moving towards the as-a-service model, so MarkLogic is going to offer everything as a service. So as the two first products are Query as a Service and Data Hub as a Service, they're already running on AWS, and they're available on Marketplace. So if you have any questions, I'll be here. But the last point is we'll be working together. We'll be innovating together for the benefit of customers like you. So again, I will be here. If you have any questions on the platform, specifically on AI and ML, you can talk to me later. Thanks.
We will have a Q&A.
Sure, sure.
Hello. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Justin, and sorry for the glitches at the beginning of the presentation. So thanks, Justin, for joining us today, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kiran Kamreddy, and I'm a product manager at MarkLogic, and my responsibility is in the cloud and services area, primarily driving our product strategy on the AWS and Azure clouds. So as Justin mentioned, AWS offers a ton of benefits and advantages and offers a significant value proposition for our customers to run their MarkLogic and MarkLogic applications. So let's quickly look at what are some of the motivations for our customers to move their MarkLogic deployments to AWS. The number one advantage and motivation is that the speed of getting your MarkLogic environment up and running is magnitude of order better in AWS. You can really get up and running, especially if you're using our ARMY and CloudFormation templates. You can really get your MarkLogic deployment up and running in like 15 to 20 minutes. So, and then you can like really start working on your application, connect to MarkLogic, and do your business operation on that. So speed is the number one benefit and advantage to move to AWS, and that's what we have been seeing with our customers. And then once you start your MarkLogic application, once you get your first application up, at AWS, you're kind of future-proof for capacity because it's kind of like seamless to scale if you're running your MarkLogic on AWS because you have all the capacity to consume that you need. As your applications grow, as your consumption grows, your MarkLogic deployment can simply seamlessly scale. So you're kind of proofing yourself for future capacity demands. So you can add capacity on demand. And a lot of our customers have seen on an overall total cost of ownership perspective, they have seen that the costs have been experiencing lower costs because now they don't have to deal with their own data center, no hardware, no operational costs associated with it, and they certainly like the pay-as-you-go consumption model that comes with any service model, because now they're just paying for what they're consuming. If they're, typically customers start small, and they add more and more applications as they grow. So with an AWS model, they're exactly paying for what they're consuming. So obviously, because of all these benefits that AWS offers, so we allow customers to consume MarkLogic in a number of different ways. So we began supporting manual deployments in AWS back in the year 2009. So a lot of our customers had specific requirements around how they want to configure their MarkLogic. The customers still configure their MarkLogic pretty manually in AWS because they have some specialized requirements, and we do offer support for those specialized requirements. And we also started offering pre-built armies and CloudFormation because the main objective around providing armies and CloudFormation templates was to quickly get started. With the armies, you can deploy a single node MarkLogic instance in probably within a few clicks. CloudFormation templates, it takes a little bit more time because you have bunch of parameters to configure. But what you get with the CloudFormation template is you get a cluster. So you get the high availability aspect of MarkLogic with the CloudFormation template, meaning any of your node goes down, the node is automatically brought up, and IP is assigned so that there is no real discontinuity if you're using your CloudFormation templates. On the armies, there are two options, two kinds of armies. Army stands for Amazon Mission Image. It's a VM with the MarkLogic software inside it. So we have two options there. If you want to just do a trial of how MarkLogic is and experience MarkLogic is, so you can spin up and provision our developer version. We also have a BYOL version, which means you can transfer your on-prem license to your and make it applicable to your MarkLogic software running on AWS. So we have both the options there. And we open source our CloudFormation templates on GitHub. The objective is that a lot of our customers have, again, specific requirements in terms of how they want to configure their MarkLogic environment. So we give them the template so that they download the templates and they make changes that kind of fits their requirements. So one other thing that I want to highlight is the offering that we have on AWS is the full MarkLogic, meaning you're not getting some features of MarkLogic, but you're getting the entire semantic capabilities, the search capabilities, and all the multi-model capabilities that you get on a MarkLogic on an on-prem offering. So you pretty much get the same software. And you also have additional integrations built on top of it, specifically done for AWS, so that customers leverage the broader AWS ecosystem, like Lambdas, CloudWatch, API gateways. We also provide a pre-configured disk if they want to use some of our applications, some of your applications like DMSDK. The idea here is we have made sure that the offering at AWS works well with some of the other AWS ecosystem components like Lambdas and CloudWatch and API gateways. So when we started out with developing our AWS offering, two things were primary in our design. The first one was the speed at which we want our customers to be able to provision MarkLogic environments, and the second thing was security. So for the speed, as I spoke about, we have one-click armies on the marketplace. They are available globally. You can pretty much spin our marketplace armies around different regions of AWS. And security is something that has been always important to us. So So security is baked into our AWS offering, meaning you can provision our software both in an existing VPC, like customers typically have VPCs configured and they want to access or deploy MarkLogic in their existing VPC, so we'll allow that. We also have an option where customers can just create a new VPC. VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. And as I said, you get all of the security features of MarkLogic, like element level security, the role-based access control. So you get all of that. And on top of that, we have added advanced encryption capabilities by integrating with AWS KMS. KMS stands for a key management system that AWS provides for its own security. So customers can either bring their own key or they can generate a key they can get a key generated by AWS. So this offering provides a way for you to integrate with the AWS KMS so that encryption is applied on all of your data. So all of your data, and which makes sure that only users with the right permissions have the right access to the data. So as I said, our marketplace offering was released in the year 2013, and we have been constantly improving the product. And we have been we have added a bunch of features and capabilities over the years, and the features that you see on the screen are the features that were added from the previous MarkLogic world. Matt, who is going to speak after me, will talk about the new reference architecture that we have today that has components for public subnets, private subnets, and NAT gateways. We now support new generation EC2 instances. For example, R5 are the latest EC2 instance types from Amazon with a lot of memory. So if anybody is interested in running their MarkLogic and want to consume a lot of memory, R5 is the way to go. We also support M5. M5 are just an improved version of general purpose EC2 instance type from AWS. And we support a bunch of other EC2 type as well, but these are the latest ones that we have added support for. We now support Amazon. We now run our army on the Amazon Linux version. So Amazon has its own Linux that it has released. So we support running our army against that as well. And now you have heard a lot about machine learning capabilities that are introduced with MarkLogic 10. And we now have an army which works on a GPU-enhanced instance types, meaning if you want to try and experience the machine learning capabilities, you can simply go to AWS Marketplace, spin up the right army so that you get those GPU capabilities and you can experience those machine learning capabilities. So some of the features that were always there were the encryption. As I spoke about, you have a native integration with AWS KMS that kind of gives you advanced encryption capabilities. The offering itself is integrated very well with S3 for you to take advantage of the lower cost per terabyte that S3 offers. The support for elastic load balancers, rolling upgrades, and manageability features. So as I mentioned, we have been continuously iterating on our offerings at AWS. We obviously began with the support for manual deployment at AWS. Then we realized that, hey, we need to provide automation around deployment. We need to provide manageability capabilities, automated configuration capabilities, high availability capabilities, and that's how we came up with the one-click armies and the CloudFormation templates that enables our customers to really quickly provision the MarkLogic software on AWS. Then we came up with query service, which kind of elastically scales depending on the workload that is hitting it. And then, like today, Data Hub Service is the most cutting-edge offering that we offer on AWS. Data Hub Service is really a fast data integration platform, completely delivered as a cloud service in AWS today. I mean, Data Hub Service is literally gives you the best of the both worlds, right? So the Data Hub itself is a fast and smart, fast and secure data integration platform. It's a simplified platform where you have fast ingestion, you can do a ton of harmonization on the data, and you have and you have a way to govern, and it is like it has all kinds of the right security controls. And the other benefit that you get with the Data Hub service is obviously the rapid elasticity and the scalability and the automated provisioning that cloud offers. It's basically the way to think about it is it's literally a point-and-click environment where you are able to spin up or provision a Data Hub service environment within a few clicks, and then you're ready to like get started with your data integration related tasks or data integration related projects. So I highly recommend. There is a workshop that's happening tomorrow on DHS, and I highly recommend you to attend it if possible. Our registration desk will have the latest information on if there are any seats available or not. But if they are available, I would highly recommend you to like go attend the Data Hub service. That will have a lot more details on practical hands-on on how do you get started with the Data Hub service project. So use cases. Since we have had this offering for a while now at AWS, our customers have realized different kinds of use cases as far as AWS is concerned. One of the, I would say, so this is what we have seen a lot of our customers doing, using AWS for realizing, for doing their dev and test scenarios, because it is really, really quick to provision AWS. It doesn't really like, take a lot of time to really test something. So we have a lot of dev and test environments on AWS, but this doesn't mean that there's no production on AWS. We have a bunch of customers running production scenarios as well. But because of the fastness of deployment and low cost, we see a bunch of dev and test environments as well. Backup and archives, because of the low dollar per terabyte or dollar per gigabyte cost of S3, we have seen a lot of customers use S3 and Amazon in general for Amazon AWS in general for backup and archives. It's a cost-effective way, really, to securely backup and restore your data. And AWS has data centers all over the world, so it provides an ideal solution and a fit for our customers to run their to have their disaster recovery system set up at AWS. So our customers have also been able to extend their on-prem instance to AWS to realize a hybrid cloud scenario. And some of our customers have needs around serving applications through globally. And because AWS has data centers all over the world, it was a great fit to run their global availability test cases as well. And AWS scales really, really fast. Its rapid elasticity is one of the great benefits that AWS offers. So our customers have also been using our MarkLogic on AWS because it is able to burst and able to like supply the capacity for small intervals of time. So we have, as Wilfred mentioned, as Gary also mentioned in the keynote, so we have experienced a long years of success of helping customers migrate to AWS and run their production environments in AWS. And we continue to build on that success, and we continue to innovate on the customer success and the product innovation that we have been able to deliver in the past, and we continue to build on that. And there's a ton of resources available in terms of architectural guidance, in terms of consulting service maybe, to help you decide how you should be thinking about migrating to AWS. So really quickly, I want to like show you some customer names that we have helped have successful migrations. We have helped a really large customer move their really big workload involving 45 racks, 38 DBs, and 1.2 billion documents. And we have been able to successfully move them from an on-prem system to AWS. We have helped BBC and NBC run their really responsive workloads in AWS. I can share more details if you want to contact me personally after this. So yeah, with that, I hand it over to Matt, so that we can take a deep dive into the architecture and technicals.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bat Sun. I'm the lead engineer. I'm the lead engineer in MarkLogic, working on cloud, everything about cloud, 24/7. So while you are sleeping, I'm talking about cloud. I feel very honored to be the last one that speaks before our founder's fireside chat. So I have something important for you. Please be awake. Today we're going to go through three things. A reference architecture. This is the architecture that some of our biggest customers, they are using this architecture that includes the best practices that we highly recommend. Security, governance, highly available, everything. I will do a quick live demo given the time we have, and I will tell you what is the best practice. I really want you to take away these best practices because your team would like to know what is MarkLogic recommending. So a reference architecture will tell you, as the diagram shows on the left, what do you want to do when you deploy a cluster on AWS. It is a quick start. You need to customize from this quick start. This is a beginning to fit your business need. And this architecture gives you the option to customize and configurable the things that you want to adopt to your business environment, such as what is a network? You probably already have a VPC, that is the virtual private network that you already set up on your cloud. Or you want to deploy multiple nodes. We give you the flexibility to deploy a few nodes, one node, a few nodes, or scale up to more nodes. And you can choose to enable high availability, or for development purpose, you want to put it only in one zone, just for development to save some cost. And of course, monitoring, you want to choose the license, bring your own license, developer, or pay-as-you-go. So a closer look at the architecture diagram. We look at the first part, the top part first. We differentiate the subnets. So the light green boxes are public subnets, and the light blue ones at the bottom are private subnets. We highly recommend put your data node in the private subnet and do not allow any access to the private subnet unless they are through some channels. Some channels can be load balancers, can be net gateway, can be internet gateway, or these channels that I'm showing, I don't have the pointer here, it doesn't work. Internet gateway, endpoint, VPC, private links, or load balancers. These are only authenticated channels that people should be able to access any data that should be protected. So public subnet, there's no data node. There are only these channels. And the private subnet, which is the next section. By the way, everything is inside the VPC. We do not recommend, we actually, this coverage, I believe that's also AWS recommendation, do not use the EC2 Classic, always use VPC, and everything will be in the cloud securely protected. Now the orange nodes, the orange squares, they are nodes. Data nodes, they're using MarkLogic Amazon Machine Image. Amazon Machine Image are put in an auto-scaling groups, each of them. So we can make sure the quorum of the cluster are always met, highly available, very important. And EBS volumes are attached. We also use some of the features that MarkLogic developed inside. There's a feature called Managed Cluster feature. This feature helps you to make sure your cluster are highly available on AWS. So Managed Cluster feature leverages many of the best advantages that AWS has to provide. Elastic Network Interface, the purple icon, the orange icon at the bottom, Lambda functions to manage the Elastic Network Interface, Lambda function to do the node management, and SNS topic to trigger the auto-scaling group lifecycle event. And also, we use the DynamoDB for metadata store of the cluster. Put together, the whole cluster will be highly available when some nodes going down or unexpected event happening, the hardware failure, the cluster is still up because there is a column we can maintain with this hierarchy of the cluster. Okay, let's do a quick demo. And where's my browser? Okay. Okay, I have to look at it this way. So where do we start to find MarkLogic? Google search. So you search for AWS Marketplace. I have no affiliation with Google, by the way. Let's go to Okay, the network. And then Amazon search. Let's search for MarkLogic. The top of the list are the recent listings of MarkLogic. And we click on, so they differentiate by what's the license type, or we have the cloud services. Here, we want to see how we can create a virtual machine or EC2 instance using this search. So we click on the first one. This is the developer's license to launch a MarkLogic instance. So there are a few steps you need to follow. The instructions, the font are really small here, but the instructions are pretty intuitive. Follow the steps. Continue to subscribe. Continue. So the pages will show you some configuration. What is the region you want to launch? Continue to configuration, network settings. What is the MarkLogic version? What is the instance type? Or those kind of things. And follow these things. You can leave all these things as default. And eventually, there's this button, which is grayed out now, called Launch. Roughly 3 steps. You can launch a MarkLogic instance. And this is a customized MarkLogic instance, which means when you launch it, in a few seconds, MarkLogic will already start, initialize itself. So you can directly hit some of the example MarkLogic app servers or the management GUI. That's one way, option 1. Option 2, again, we start from Google. Oh.
You're using a different protocol.
We go to the hopefully familiar website, marklogic.com. Go to Community and Downloads. So we want to reach out to MarkLogic website and see how we can deploy to cloud. And there's this link saying Deploy on the cloud, along with other options for you to download. Scroll down. This is a very big title, MarkLogic in the cloud. MarkLogic on AWS. This is a landing page for you to get started. You don't need to read. You should read the documentation, but this is a page for you to, if you only have 10 seconds, your boss asks you to create a cluster, this is a page. So this page is basically listed a bunch of buttons for you to quickly create a stack. You can create one of these to launch a stack. And then you will be redirected to a place like any of these. So this is a dashboard of AWS CloudFormation. AWS CloudFormation, just in case you are not sure, is AWS service for you to create some infrastructure using some simple code. It can be JSON, can be YAML. That's called infrastructure as code. And what you will do is to create a stack. And once you have the template that we provide. That was the template that Kiran has mentioned, CloudFormation template, MarkLogic builds. Click Next. MarkLogic builds this template. We included all the best options and best practices into this template. So what you need to do only to go through this page and fill in the required parameters. There are many default values. You can leave them default values if you only have 10 minutes. Now you have 6 minutes left. So we give it a name. Sun MLW demo. And IAM role is the role that can access the EC2 instance. Give it some name, Sun, fake name, doesn't matter. And we can leave these default values as is volume size, volume type, volume encryption. We should use the encryption, but now it's OK. And SSH key, some key, doesn't matter. Availability zone, this is a place that you want to make it highly available. So you can choose, in this case, we'll choose A, B, and C. So we have 3 zones. If one of the zone is going out, we still have 2 zones. And another zone will come up, assume AWS are doing a good job, it will come up with the new zone. And all these other settings about logging, about network, we can leave it. We can leave them as default. And the password, some password. Then we click Next. That's basically it. We should be able to create a cluster in less than 15 minutes if you follow these steps, because we only parameterize those necessary fields, not everything. in the end, we need to give some permission for AWS to create everything. Then we will create stack. Create stack, then it will be running in the background. In less than 15 minutes, you will see something like this tab. We don't have 15 minutes. I have only 4 minutes now. So let me see if this is the one I'm looking for. Yeah, I believe this is one. OK, so I have created a stack prior to this session. And this stack comes up in 15 minutes. And once you do the practice I just showed you, you will see a CloudFormation stack like this. Click on the outputs. You will see the outputs. There is a URL. There is a URL. This URL is backed by a load balancer, which is only in the public subnet. And through this URL, you are able to access the MarkLogic cluster we created for you. Oh, actually, I have it here. Don't guess the password. This is the MarkLogic admin interface. And we can also do I have it here? Not here. Go to, oh. Shh. We can also go to the query console to run a hello world query. So a cluster is up in 15 minutes. Okay? So some best practice, always get started. If you are not already doing it, always get started with our templates. And then customize. Step 2, customize it. You understand what's the network infrastructure we recommended, what is the topology of the cluster, customize it. If you want to do some own cluster, your own version of the cluster, use our MarkLogic AMI because it is highly customized for GPU enhanced for all the drivers, dependency of the system, or embedded into the AMI. Use the newer generation of EC2 instance. And if you want to upgrade the existing template, still using the same existing cluster, still using the same template. And before I finish, the last best practice, let me ask you, what is the even faster way to create a cluster on AWS, other than what I have just showed you?
Use the service.
DHS.
Use the service.
Yes, use cloud services, MarkLogic Data Hub Service. Thanks, Kiran.
Hey, thank you, Matt. Hey, I know we have started a little bit late. We have hit some glitches, so we are willing to stay back. If you have any questions, this is the time.
Yeah. If anyone has questions for our speakers, just raise your hand and I'll bring you the microphone.
Yeah, and I'm leaving the presentation at this page. That's the page where you can go to access the material that Matt has shown you.
Anyone?
No questions, so that's good. I think I've convinced all of you to get started with AWS then.
They're speechless. Okay, please, folks, remember to fill out the survey for this session. And just a reminder for all of you that within about 2 to 3 weeks, you'll be receiving an email when the recordings and the slides are available, okay?
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.